All right, everybody, what's happening? And welcome to today's edition of SWAC Talk, the show we cover the SWAC inside and out. Of course, I am your tour guide around the SWAC. See Wells coming at you, and we're gonna have another what I'm calling news and notes edition of SWAC Talk. Just little bit of this, little bit of that. Anything that comes up during the week, during the time period between my shows, I'm just throwing it out there right now. Just bring you guys some good stuff. So we're not gonna waste too much time. You can see the socials on the screen down below. Facebook is SWAC Talk, Instagram is SWAC Talk, Twitter SWAC Talk 76. Email address is swagtalk76 at gmail.com. And of course, if you would love to support the show, show a little love, you get the Cash App, $ Swag Talk. It'd be much appreciated. You got Swag Talk coming at you Wednesday. Swag Smoke coming at you live on Thursday, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Then Swag Talk coming back at you again on Sunday. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Much appreciated if you have, man. Much love and thank you. But if you haven't, man, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscription button, like the videos and share them, and feel free to comment on any videos that you see fit. If you want to go back and watch a couple old videos and drop a comment, that's all good too. Hit that notification bell so you can be alerted to any video that I do upload. Got some big things coming down the pipe in the next few days, in the near future. So they're not always going to be on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So, if I drop a video on a Monday, you can get that notification that it's there and you won't miss it, or you won't find out about it later, and the next time you come to the page. So hit that notification bell to be alerted to any new stuff that I drop, because we all working on some new big things for the future, and they're not always going to be on my normal recording schedule. So just don't miss it. Next up, SWAC Smoke shirts are here. If you ordered one already, you should be getting it soon. I think DJ started to put those out for you guys. But if you haven't, got one yet and you want to get one, man, once you holler at DJ, his Instagram is on the screen, and then he can take you from there, man. They, as if you don't know, SWAC Smoke has some merch out. We have T-shirts out, one red and one black. I mean, one white and one black. Red and black, black and red, and white and red. So make sure you check those out. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and copy one. They're 1 for $25 and 2 for $40. So make sure you go ahead and cop that while you can. So here's here's a look at the black shirt. As you can see, it's got the SWAC Smoke across the front in red. And then we have a white one as well with the SWAC Smoke across the front in white. So make sure you hit him up and you cop one of them. So you can rock the SWAC Smoke stuff, and you can represent for the SWAC Smoke crew, man. We trying to do our thing out here. So, if you got one already, man, thank you. Much appreciated. If not, man, why don't you go ahead and cop you one of those, or cop two. So, whatever the case may be, man, why don't you go ahead and, scoop up a couple and help us out with that. All right, so now, man, we're gonna get back into our show, and today I decided to do a little something. I mean, it's very early. It's not even, it's still May. Media Day doesn't happen until July. Camps don't open till August. So there's a lot of talking time between now. This is basically talking season. All college sports are almost over, so this is pretty much the time that everybody just comes up with stuff, and it's just all a lot of talk and banter and predictions. So I figured I'll go ahead and throw out my predicted order of finish for the SWAC in football. Now, like I said, this is like, if you remember when you was in school, you had to write a school paper or something like that. You did a rough draft. Although I was one of the people that wrote the paper first, then went back and made up a rough draft. But this is a rough draft. It's gonna change. I'm gonna have my official order of finish the closer we get to media day. Just see anything new that comes out. I'll probably drop mine a little bit after media day. Might wait till camps open or something like that. But right now, this is just my first draft. It's gonna have some teams in some spots that you're gonna be like, I don't even understand what he's seeing or whatever. So I know some people are gonna look at these and be like, man, my team is ranked way too low. These dudes is ranked way too high. We got this coming in, we got that coming in. Right now everybody got something coming in. Everybody got portal guys and some good high school guys coming in, and we don't know what hardly any of these teams are gonna be like. There's a couple teams who are pretty well established, and I don't see any movement with them. But for the most part, it's probably gonna, this is a work in progress. And I just wanted to find a place to start, and this is my starting place. So you can always drop your thoughts on this in the comments, or you can give me your order or finish in the comments or whatever. Like I said, this is all a rough draft, but I wanted to put it out there now, and you guys can do what you want with it. So we're going to start in the East, and we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up to the top. The number 6 spot right now, as we stand, I have Bethune-Cookman. And to me, honestly, 3 through 6 in the East can probably shuffle, depending on how, those matchups go and how these teams actually gel. But just as a starting spot, I picked Bethune-Cookman. Obviously, I don't think they'll be record-wise like they were last year, but this East division has the potential to be very, very good. A lot of teams are improving, or a lot of teams people think are going to be top teams. So somebody had to finish number 6. So I picked them, but I think they'll be better. Offensively, they have Jalen Jones coming in at quarterback. They still have Kamari Everett at tight end, and they have a couple backs coming back. But defensively, losing a guy like Ontario Johnson is a big hole on your defense. And the defense did not play the best last year, so we'll see how they build off of that. But like I said, this is where I thought they would start. They could easily finish, somewhere else if their team gels right. Number 5 to me is Mississippi Valley. Now, again, 5 can finish anywhere depending on how some of their games go. A lot of people are very high on Valley. I'm still not quite there, although they have Caleb Johnson at running back, who is to me probably the best back in the conference, and that's a hell of a weapon. Offensively, they still have, they still don't really have that explosiveness that you need to really, survive in a conference. Cause they have like 4 quarterbacks battling it out for the job, so that's something that's going to be interesting. The receivers, they have guys who can make plays in space, but they don't really have that deep threat, at least not that they've shown in the last couple of seasons. So offensively, they're capable with Johnson, and if a quarterback can take hold of the position, then there's a chance to build. Now, if Easton holds the job, then he's an extra running threat in the backfield, which makes that running game even better. On the offensive line, has to continue to gel and get better, and get protection and open up some holes. Caleb Johnson makes a lot of plays on his own, but if you get a line that can open up holes for him and he can hit the hole without any worries, then he's probably gonna run for 150, 200 a game. Not in a game. If the line play gets better. Defensively, Valley took some big losses, notably Jerry Garner on the defensive line. They also lost Keontae Daniels in the secondary, but Coach Dancy is a defensive guy, and I think he'll be able to get the defense, on track. But, they have a tough early schedule as usual. That can impact how they play once they get to conference play. But, I think Valley has the potential to be a better team. They're one of those teams that I think they might be better, but their record might not be better, if that makes any sense. But they're a dangerous team, and they're a team that I think has the potential to challenge if they can, string together a couple of victories. Number 4, I have Alabama State. I thought about switching them in Valley because right now Alabama State is a total wild card. They have Demetrius Davis that people think is going to be the quarterback, but they don't really have they have a lot of transfer guys coming in on both sides of the ball. They have a brand new coaching staff. Coach Robinson, this is his first coaching job, so that's something that needs to be taken into account. Like I said, a lot of what goes on with, your thoughts and predictions with a team like Alabama State are all speculation, really, because we don't have any real handle on how he's going to run this program, or how this team is going to respond to him. They have a tough couple of games to start the season. Howard's going to be a tough game for them, and then they play at UCLA. So they, and they have a game against Miles, and so they have a tough slate to start the season off. Game, those the Valley game, the Bethune-Cookman game, the Alabama A&M game, are big games for them, especially the Magic City Classic. They've lost 4 in a row, so I don't know how much pressure is on him to win it this year, but obviously it's a rivalry game, and you don't want to lose 5 in a row to your rival. So you probably need to win that game, but I don't know if it's do or die, being his first year there. But that's all those games are huge games that are going to impact the 3 through 6 standing. So if they want to finish 4th, they need to win at least 2 out of those 3 games, and find a way to take a couple other conference games. So I think a 4th place finish can probably be between 3 and 5 wins in conference play. So you need to pick up some victories, but I don't it's gonna be tough. But like I said, all these spots are interchangeable, and I'm probably gonna shuffle this again once I get closer to the season. Number 3, I have Alabama A&M. Of course, they're going to have a new starting quarterback, but they still have a lot of pieces returning on offense. Their offense probably won't be as explosive as it was, in the last couple seasons, but they have the guys that can get it done. At quarterback, I think you just really trust your skill guys, and you don't have to try to win the game yourself on offense. Defensively is where this team has to improve. Having an offense that they had last year did cover up a lot of defensive mistakes. I mean, they had to win a lot of shootouts, and they did that in a few games. But the defense, just never really gelled last year. There were injuries and things like that. So they're another team that went very heavy in the portal. So they're going to have a lot of guys that they have to kind of work into the rotation on both sides of the ball. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Of course, I'm not quite sure if they can make that jump to the top 2, because I do think that there's a gap this year between 1 and 2, and then the last 4. So I don't know if they'll be able to make that jump, but if they do, they're going to have to beat one of the 2 teams in front of them, which is going to be a tough affair. Both of them are away from home. FAMU is in Tallahassee, and the Jackson State game is in Mobile. So, obviously the JSU game being at home didn't help them last year, but, that's always something that can kind of help you out, sometimes in tough games. But, I think that this team has the opportunity to finish in the top half of the division. If they can piece together something and steal something, then who knows what can happen. Number 2, I have FAMU. Getting Isaiah Land back is a huge, huge thing for their defense. Losing, Collier and Bell in the secondary, losing Savion Williams on the defensive line is a big thing. The offense should still be pretty solid. There's talks of a quarterback battle, but Rashawn McKay was solid last year. He wasn't splashy, but he was solid. Losing a guy like Bishop Barnett at running back is a big loss, but Terrell Jennings did a good job, getting carries. So they have a couple other backs there. Xavier Smith returns at receiver. So they have guys, they just got an offensive line transfer from USF, a big body guy that was a 2-sport athlete. So, they have, some pieces coming in, and this team should still be solid. I don't know how close they'll be to the number 1 team, but, they'll find out in week 2. Their opening part of the schedule, the first 2 games are North Carolina and then Jackson State and Miami. So they will find out where they're at from Jump Street. Last year, the JSU game was a 7-6 game. FAMU felt like they could have had that game. Jackson felt like they never really lost control of that game. So obviously that's an interesting game. That's easily game of the week to start that week. So we'll see what happens. You know, the winner of that game is definitely in the driver's seat. And that leads us to obviously the #1 team, JSU. You know, they returned a lot of guys from last season. They added a lot of guys this year. You know, some of these guys, you know, we'll see if they can step in and fill in some holes that they did lose. You know, a guy like James Houston, who definitely was, you know, a problem as his nickname goes. You know, that's a guy who really was a big issue for offenses. A guy like Al Young, who played pretty steady late in the season. CJ Holmes, a guy who, you know, was another solid cornerback on that defense. So they lost some defensive line pieces as well. But, you know, we'll see if they can fill those holes on offense. You know, losing, you know, Newman and Corbin are big losses in the receiving core. But, you know, they have a lot of receivers coming back. Of course, they have Shedeur Sanders coming back at quarterback, who was the, you know, a star as a freshman. Really kind of, you know, proved a lot of us, me included, you know, wrong. I thought he could be good, but I didn't know how good he could be. He didn't really have a lot of games where he made a lot of freshman mistakes, probably other than like the Celebration Bowl, which was probably his one freshman game that I feel. But, you know, he really, you know, kind of did what he needed to do. And the offensive line just was not that good last year. They, you know, they seemed to have put some pieces there to improve it, but, you know, offensive line is something that you will find out when the game starts. You know, it's gonna, you know, it may take a while for that line to gel, and we'll see if they can do it. They just added a nice running back piece from Delaware State, so you know, they have no shortage of guys. How, you know, are those guys going to be able to produce at the championship level? You know, that's where the question comes. But they have enough guys returning from last season that they will go into the season as the front runner in the division and the conference. So, you know, that's not really a stretch to put them at this spot. Last year, I didn't put them at the spot to start because I was like, you know, you need to see this team in action to see, you know, how they gel. You know, this year, you know, everybody, the coaching staff has a year of working together. A lot of these guys have played already, so, you know, it's a different scenario coming into the season. So they were easily #1, probably the easiest probably one of two easiest spots to predict in the whole conference. So not a lot of intrigue or speculation to be had there. Moving on to the west side, the other easy spot that I had was #6, UAPB. I think this team can improve from last season. Last season they had a horrendous season, but they have a lot of holes to fill. They lost. They just lost another. They pretty much lost all their receiving core from the last couple of years. So, you know, they're, you know, bringing in guys trying to, you know, rebuild. The running game never really got going. The quarterback play was inconsistent at best. Skylar Perry didn't have a great year at all. He got benched a couple of times, and now they're saying that, you know, he does still have the front runner spot in the quarterback job, but they expect guys to push. So, you know, he needs to get back that consistency that he had in the spring of 2021 when they went to the SWAC championship game. Defensively, they lost some more guys. They just, you know, could not, you know, they just could not overcome some of the holes the offense put them in, and then they gave up big yardage on the ground and in the air in multiple games, and they just, you know, neither side of the ball could help the other side, and they came up short. So there's gonna be, you know, excuse me, they don't really have any proven weapons right now. So this is gonna be a team that they need to get off to a good start early and try to find some confidence, and you know, maybe they can have a couple guys step up who are new. So they're gonna be counting on some new guys, just like a lot of teams in the league. But I think that they'll be going into the start of the season, they'll be the team that most people pick to finish 6th place. Now it gets very murky. To me in the West, 5 through 1 can be any of these teams. So this is just me kind of pulling names out of hats, because all 5 of these teams have issues. All 5 of these teams have major flaws. But these teams can, you know, somebody's going to have to piece it together to win the division, and it's going to be an interesting race between these teams. Now, that doesn't count out Pine Bluff, But for the sake of this right now, I think it's a it's a 5-team battle right now. Number 5, I picked Prairie View, and that might not be the best spot to put them in this last few months of SWAC action, because Prairie View has found themselves in championships in every sport, just about, or at least close to it in multiple sports. So I don't know if I should count out the Panthers just on that, but I'm only putting them this here because they lost some big pieces on defense. Obviously, they lost Jason Dumas, they lost Jake Cheatham on defense in the last couple of weeks. Offensively, they have Jaden Stewart at running back, who was a very, very good freshman back. They have a couple receivers coming back. Quarterback is going to be the spot that they need to fill. Somebody to replace Juwan Pass. And obviously, they have a new head coach in Coach Bubba McDowell. So, they have some holes, but this is a team that, they have brought in, they have built a nice team the last couple of years. So they may have some guys waiting in the wings to fill those spots. So, this is a very interesting team. I think this is going to be a team that can cause some problems. They have an early game, obviously, first game of the season against Texas Southern. That's going to be a big, big game for the division. They still have a pretty early game against Grambling. That's another game that can, throw some monkey wrenches in it. And I think they play Southern, in October. So they have some opportunities to shake things up early and get them some momentum. But they also have the opportunity to fall behind if they drop any of those games. So they are a team who needs to start fast. I mean, I say that about everybody, but, with so many SWAC games early on their schedule, they need to get off to a good start if they want to find themselves on the right side of the conference standings. Now, number 4, I picked Grambling, but, I could easily, like I said before, I could easily see anybody else in this spot. Right now, to me, the thing about Grambling is we don't really know where they stand. I mean, obviously, they had a very solid defense last year, and they brought in some top transfers on that side of the ball. Offensively, the offense was not good last year. Short of one game on the season, they didn't really have a great offensive season. They just lost 2 quarterbacks to the portal this spring. But they brought in 2 quarterbacks, both FBS guys. So we'll see how that goes. Running game, I think they can be fine. The receivers, they brought in a couple big body guys. So the offensive line is going to have to improve from last season. Obviously, Hugh Jackson, this is his first year at Grambling. So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles this, building this team and getting them to go forward in the standings. But, I think this team can be dangerous, but right now I'm not quite sure where to put them, so I just put them at 4th. Moving on to 3 is Alcorn. Again, similar to Grambling, they're a team who the line play wasn't up to the quality of Alcorn offensive line or defensive line. But they should be pretty much a contender in the division. They're going to have a new quarterback as well. So we don't know where they stand. They get off to a pretty strong schedule start. It's going to be interesting how they fare. Are they going to be able to fill those holes that they have? They do still have a guy like Nico Duffy at running back, who's definitely going to be a weapon for them. They also have CJ Bolar at wide receiver. That's another offensive weapon. So they have some guys that can make some plays, but they're going to have to find a quarterback, and their offensive line is going to have to be more consistent, especially this season with a new guy behind center. But like I said before, with the other teams, I wouldn't be surprised to see this team put it together and finish, in the top part of the division. So it's not writing nobody off by where I put them. Number 2 was tough, probably tougher than anything, but I put TSU at number 2. I thought I started to put them at number 1, but to me, and I know a lot of people, I know my TSU people that told me already that the defense is going to be better. But again, like every team, I need to see it. Offensively, they have the best quarterback in the league, at least top 2. Some people feel like he's the best. you know, I would not put him 1A, 1B. Andrew Body is probably he's a star and he's gonna be a star in the league. Ladarius Owens at running back is a guy that a lot of people don't know about. You would know more. You would know him this season if you didn't already. He's a guy that can really run that ball. Receivers, they have those guys that can make plays, multiple guys. The line was actually pretty good last year on offense. Like I said, my question for TSU is the defense. They got better as the season went on, but they still got gashed in quite a few games. So they're gonna have to shave off some yardage off their yard per game total and try to shave a couple points off their points per game total. And they're just improve incrementally across the season. Their schedule does them no favors early. Prairie View to start. Third game was against Southern, so they would know where they're at in the SWAC race after week 3. So a lot of pressure to get off to a good start. A lot of people are gonna crown them as the preseason West Division champs. So they're gonna come in with a lot more attention than they've had in quite some time. So this year, the key for them is, can they be the team? I wouldn't necessarily say the 100 yet, but they're gonna be a team that people have their eyes on this year. No, they're not gonna be able to, really just cruise under and catch teams. So they're gonna be playing from a different vantage point this season. So the key for me is how they can handle that and how their defense plays. Offensively, I think they'll be one of the top offenses in the league unless something happens, which I don't foresee. I picked Southern for number 1. Now I know a lot of people know me; I'm a Jaguar, but that is not why I picked Southern number 1. I picked Southern number 1 because basically I had to, so I just figured I'd put them now. I mean, I could have put Southern at 5 if I really felt like it, but Southern has a lot of questions. Obviously, Coach Dooley, he's there now. The quarterback battle is going to be interesting. Adding Noah Biden to the quarterback room, that's now you have 4 guys battling it out instead of 3. The running game is going to be probably one of the best in the league, if not the best, with Dylan and Sims and Kendrick Rhymes and a couple other guys they brought in. The backfield is going to be stacked. Receiver play is where my question for Southern is going to be. Somebody's going to have to step up and take charge in that area, be that go-to guy. Ethan Howard at tight end is a guy who's going to be a weapon for Southern. Coach Dooley is definitely going to use him. The offensive line should be good. It probably won't be as good as it was losing Jatari Carter, but there's still going to be a very good offensive line. Defense is where my questions with Southern comes up. They got a lot of transfers on that side of the ball and JUCO guys. Last season, the defense was not up to recent Southern quality, but this team, to finish 4-7, they were in a lot of games late. Now they did get blowed out against Prairie View, and obviously they got blowed out against Troy, but they blew a second half lead against McNeese. They blew a second half lead against Jackson. They lost by 12 to FAMU. That game was kind of deceptive. I don't think they really had a chance to win that game, but they were still kind of in range of that game, at least for the most part. But FAMU's defense shut them down in the second half. They weren't moving the ball at all, so I don't really think they could have won that game. But they were in distance of the game in that game, and then they lost to Grambling on a last-second field goal. So they had a lot of games that they just did not play well in the second half, which cost them. So this is a team, I think, if they can maintain that first half focus in the second half, then this is a team that can finish in the top spot. But this team also has a lot of questions. So I can easily see them. If they don't come together early, it's going to be tough. Like I said, that TSU game in week 3 is going to be a very tough game. Coming off of LSU, which obviously is a money game, but that game can wreck morale. And going into Arlington against a hot team like TSU, or at least a dangerous team like TSU, can really change your conference schedule. So you really want to try to win that game and get out the blocks to a good start. So the West, like I said, is just it's a crapshoot. It's nothing. I couldn't even really with certainty pick anybody. So I just kind of jumbled the names up and put them there. But like I said, this is my rough draft, and I reserve the right to change my mind as much as I want before I make my official predictions closer to the season. So that's gonna do it for that portion of the show. We're gonna jump over to softball real quick. Prairie View, the Lady Panthers went to the NCAA tournament, and they had to play in the Norman region, and they ran into the #1 team in the whole tournament, the Oklahoma Sooners, and Oklahoma, picked up a victory over Prairie View to what is excuse me, my banner is acting up. So they went to Norman and picked up. They played a tough team. Oklahoma was like 49-2 on the season, and they showed who they were and what kind of team they were. They defeated Prairie View by a score of 14-0 in that game. Yesterday they played Minnesota, and they lost that game 13-1 I believe they said that game went 5 innings. So not a rough outing for Prairie View in this tournament, losing combined 27-1. But this team was not even supposed to be here. They made a great run in the conference tournament. They were honestly 12-13 in conference, and 20-30 overall. They made a run through the tournament and won it. So they were playing with house money, and it did not go the way they probably wanted, but it was a great experience, and they were able to at least go out there and play hard. So you will see how they do, in the upcoming season, but they do have the opportunity to call themselves SWAC champs, and that's very important. The final topic I want to touch on is baseball, and baseball has come to an end. The season wrapped up yesterday. We're getting ready for the SWAC tournament, which starts on Wednesday. And basically, like I said, they haven't unveiled the official brackets yet, but I believe this is how the race will stack up. Alabama State was the East Division champs, so they'll go into the tournament with the 1 seed on the East. FAMU, I believe, is the 2 seed in the East. Bethune-Cookman should be the 3 seed in the East, and Jackson State the 4th seed in the East. The top 4 teams go to the tournament. Alabama State was 21-8 in conference play and 30-23 overall. FAMU was 19-11 in conference, 26-28 overall. Bethune-Cookman 19-11 and 25-30 overall. Jackson State was 16-14, 29-25 overall. Alabama A&M missed out. They were 11-19 and 15-34 overall. Valley was 40. Valley was 4-25 and 10-31-1 overall. They finished last in the division. Southern was the East Division champs at 21-9, 24-29 overall. Grambling 20-10, 25-20, 29 overall. They're the 2 seed. Texas Southern and Prairie View finished tied for 3rd at 19-11. TSU was 28-23 overall. Prairie View was 29-25 overall. So from the looks of the standings, TSU should get the 3 seed. Prairie View should get the 4 seed. Pine Bluff was 9-21 in conference play, 13-36-1 overall, and Alcorn was 2-28 in conference and 2-39 overall. So if the matchups look like the standings right now, unless they have any tiebreaker changes, Alabama State will play Prairie View in the first round of the tournament. FAMU will play Texas Southern in the first round. Grambling will face Bethune-Cookman, and Southern will face Jackson State. So that should be the first round matchups. Let's see. I think they just put the article up for the seedings. It wasn't up before the show, so let's see how close I was, and the share game times and everything. So Wednesday, May 25th, game 1 is number 2 in the East, FAMU, versus number 3 in the West, Prairie View. So they flip-flop Prairie View and Texas Southern. So Prairie View got the 3 seed, Texas Southern got the 4 seed. So that game is at 9 a.m. on Wednesday. Game two is West number 2 Grambling against East number 3 Bethune-Cookman. That's 12 p.m. Game 3, West number 1 Southern versus East number 4 Jackson State, 3 p.m. And then game 4 is East number 1 Alabama State versus West number 4 Texas Southern. Thursday's games, May 26th, game 5 is the loser of game 1 versus loser of game 3. That's an elimination game. Game 6, loser of game 2 versus loser of game 4. That's also an elimination game. Game 7, winner of game 1 versus winner of game 3. That game is at 3 o'clock. Game 5 is at 9, and game 6 is at 12. Game 8 is game 2 winner versus game 4 winner. That's 6 p.m. Friday, May 27th. There's an elimination game, winner of game 5 versus loser of game 7. That game is at 9 p.m. Game 10, winner of game 6 versus loser of game 8. That's 12 p.m. That's also an elimination game. Game 11, winner of game 7 versus winner of game 9, 3 p.m. And winner of game 10 versus winner of game 8 is 6 p.m. And then Saturday, game 11, 11B, this is a loser bracket game. The loser of game 11 plays the winner of game 11 again. The loser of game 12 versus the winner of game 12 if necessary. And then the championship is Sunday, May 29th at 12 p.m. So that's the tournament. They put this up right as I started my broadcast. All games will be live on the SWAC Digital Network, so make sure you check that out. From the beginning to the end, you can catch all the games on the SWAC Digital Network. So make sure you catch that on YouTube. So that's gonna do it for today's show, man. I'm gonna stop this tour bus as usual. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you guys on Wednesday for another edition of SWAC Talk, and Thursday another live edition of SWAC Smoke. And we'll holler at y'all on Wednesday. Peace.